Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening, everyone. So today I will explain to you research with title Prevalence and Associated Risk Factors of Intestinal Parasites in Rural High Mountain Communities of the Valle del Cauca, Colombia. But before we get started and we continue to the topic, I will introduce about myself. My name is Titus Wiradika Hutabalian, and my NPM is H1A020052, and I'm medical student in Universitas Bengkulu. Okay, so in this research, there are 5 parts that we have to know and we have to learn here. So the first is introduction, and then methods, and then results, and then discussion, and the last is conclusion. So we continue to the introduction section in this research. Okay, I will explain this to you. There are several Colombian territories with difficult access that have not been intervened by the health services after the implementation of the Colombian Peace Agreement and the National Rural Health Plan, or PNSR. Recently, significant advances have been made studying vulnerable rural populations and how the displacement generated by the Colombian armed conflict has affected the life settings of these communities. Populations with low quality of health, constant migration and displacement suffer serious parasitic disease acting as temporal or permanent carriers, disseminating intestinal parasites. Parasites such as helminths and protozoa are the most frequent, affecting more than 2 billion people worldwide, reaching a high prevalence in some regions. Previous studies conducted in Colombia indicate that human communities affected by forced displacement are exposed to Giardia spp, with a prevalence of 15% to 60.4%. The presence of these parasites is associated with the use of communal toilets and the provision of water by municipal pipelines and by individual tanks. However, it is mostly linked to the poor water quality, control in aqueduct and agricultural labor. This study aimed to determine the prevalence of parasitic or of parasites in domestic animals and children populations subject to immigration and forced displacement in high mountain areas of Colombia. Okay, that's all about the introduction. So we continue to the methods. Okay. In methods, there are 7 parts that we have to know here. The first part is ethics statement, and then study area and population, and then type of study, and then sample, and then survey validation, and then relationship of the explanatory variables with presence of gastrointestinal parasites, and then application of data collection instrument or survey. Okay, so I will explain you about the ethics statement. The study was approved by Ethical Committee Board IDEA 09818, assigned by the Institute of Environmental Studies. During the project, School of Permanent Environmental University Thinking, the post-agreement as an opportunity for a new relationship between society and its natural and cultural heritage. This project implied little to no risk for the participants. Different meetings with the communities of Toche and Combia were held in order to clarify the aims and the study protocol. Informed consent was obtained from parents and the teachers before sample collection. In the case of the PET samples, the owners provided written consent for sample collection. Okay, So this is about ethics statement. Okay, let's continue to the study area and population. Okay, the field study was carried out in the department of Valle del Cauca in the rural area of Palmira in the district of Combia and Toche. Okay, so we continue to type of study. Okay, the present study is a cross-sectional observational type of prevalence that allows to evaluate the relationship between a disease or a health-related characteristic and other variables of interest existing in a specific population and defined moment. The presence or absence of the disease and or its variables are assessed in a sample and at a particular time, without allowing the temporal sequence of cause and effect to be evaluated. The prevalence of gastrointestinal parasite was estimated using Bayesian methods, employing an uninformative a priori binomial distribution between 0 and 100%, and assuming that the posterior distributions were fitted to a uniform distributions. Okay, that is about the type of study. Okay, so we continue to the sample. Okay, 45 structure interviews were applied to 29 families in Combia and 16 families in Toche in order to analyze the socio-economic and demographic factors associated with the parasitic presence. These interviews represent the asymptomatic children studied. A total of 15 asymptomatic children, 40 or 80% from Rita Sabogal school districts of Toche, and 10 or 20% from Tablones Atanasio Girardot schools, among which were collected 23 fecal samples, which represents 46% of the total populations of children. A total of 308 animals were characterized, analyzing 64 fecal samples from asymptomatic individuals, that is 20.4%. 18 per 41 from dogs, that is 43.9%, and 18 per 175 from poultry, that is 10.3%, and 7 per 13 from cats, that is 53.84%, and 6 per 20 from equines, that is 30%, and the last is 15 per 59%, 59 from cattle, that is 25.42%. I'm sorry. Okay, so we continue to the survey validation. The survey was validated by several professionals, considering the relevance and sufficiency of each item, making the corresponding adjustment to the original version. During the second phase, the test was validated in Combia and Toche. Upon completion of this phase, a descriptive analysis was carried out using frequency table and statistical indicators of focus and dispersions according to previously adopted methodologies. Okay, that is about the survey validation. Okay, we continue to relationships of the explanatory variables with presence of gastrointestinal parasites. Okay, what is the relationship of them? The relationships of the presence of gastrointestinal parasites and the quantitative explanatory variables were measured by logistic regressions methods, and the qualitative explanatory variables were studied with frequency analysis, contingency tables. Okay, we continue to the application of data collection instrument or survey. Okay, after the validation process was completed, the surveys were structured in 51 questions with an application time of 15 until 20 minutes. The questions were distributed in 3 sessions. The first one inquired about the personal data and socio-demographic profile of the adult informants. This session presented 9 items that record sex, age, ethnicity, highest educational level, marital status, last occupation, and promoter health entity. The second one examined the household socio-economic profile. The session featured 3 items that evaluated the socio-economic stratum of housing, income, type of housing, location and health status. And the third, farming system, type of areas distant to the production system, vaccination plans, and deworming. So that's all about the methods from the ethics statement, study area and population, and then type of study, and sample and survey validation, and the relationship of the explanatory variables with presence of gastrointestinal parasites. And the last that I have told to you before is application of data collection in instrument or survey. So just let's continue to the next part. It's results. Okay. What the results of this study or this research? Okay. In children under 6 years of age, it was found that the prevalence parasites is 60%, and the probability that children with contact with pets have a parasitic infection than those who do not have contact with animals. Okay, so the probability that the intestinal damage reported in children is caused by parasites is low, but the risk of infection may be even higher considering that the animal population have neither preventive or deworming health plans, nor veterinary assistance. Deworming and vaccination plans only apply to the bovine population. In this study, to contribute to the improvement of the quality of life of these communities, deworming plans for endoparasites and ectoparasites were carried out in canines and felines. This was linked to an educational plan for children and adults with an emphasis on a teaching campaign on personal hygiene and in order to raise awareness through the macroscopic and microscopic visualizations of parasites, that is roundworms, tapeworms, flatworms, and protozoa, about the importance of drinking potable water and consuming clean food as the best way to prevent parasitic infections. So that is the results of this study and this research. Okay, this is the fourth part that we have to know here. Okay, this is the discussion part. The children of Combia and Toche consume water without adequate treatment. From a common source of infection or school tap water, they do not live under the same roof, nor do there exist in high degree of overcrowding that allows a propagation factors, as present in communal shelters as results of earthquakes. However, it should be noted that farms located in the upper part of the schools and homes represent a risk factors in the spread of cryptosporidiosis, gardiosis, and other parasitic diseases. Okay, in this study, the parasitic frequency in children was 16%, lower than indigenous children, that is 84%, as reported previously. Similarly, the presence of giardiasis, that is 12%, was also less than the prevalence found in population of children studied after natural disasters, that is 60.4%. Okay, the reason of which we did not find animals parasites on children, zoonosis, and children parasites in animals, anthropozoonosis, is because in these rural communities, children have less contact with cats and dogs. Future studies are necessary in order to analyze water source, contaminated vegetables grown in rural high mountain areas. Hands of food handlers or housewives, and drinking water use in animal and human food, as well as to understand the One Health approach, considering that optimal health of humans is associated with the well-being of animals and the environment. Innermost efforts are required in vulnerable communities and rural areas of Colombia in order to prevent parasitic disease. Both human medical assistance and veterinary services through preventive medicines are the most powerful tools in order to reduce the parasite's frequency, as well as to develop an effective and consistent plan of animal deworming, which could improve the quality of health of these populations. Okay, the last is limitation of the study. Okay, the study has three important limitations that need to be considered when interpreting the results. Firstly, Combia and Toche are districts with a temporal or itinerant populations. Secondly, some areas were difficult to access and are located in distant territories. And the last is some people were reluctant to participate in order to protect their territories and to avoid political intervention. So that's all about the discussion. The discussion here. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 points that we have to learn in this research and discuss here too. Okay, this is the last part that we have to know from the research. Okay, this is the conclusions part. Children under 6 years of age are more likely to get parasitic infection. An adequate education plan at the school level, as well as a preventive anti-parasitic plan, will reduce the risk associated to parasite transmission. The results found were the basis for guiding an appropriate medical intervention in these communities and show the need for a greater government intervention. Okay, so if we have some education plans and get a greater government intervention, it will have a nice or a good future for the children. Okay, so that's all about the research. This is the part of the research conclusions. Okay, so that's all about the research with title Prevalence and Associated Risk Factors of Intestinal Parasites in Rural High Mountain Communities of the Valle del Cauca, Colombia. I hope you can understand what I have said before, although I'm not good at English, and I apologize if something is unpleasant for you. So that's all for me. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for you all. Thank you.